My name is Robert Harrison. Everyone calls me Rob. I'm 38 years old. 3 weeks ago, my mother threw herself a 70th birthday party at her estate in Greenwich, Connecticut. 150 guests, string quartet playing Vivaldi, Wagyu beef carving stations. The kind of party where people hire photographers just to prove they were important enough to be invited. At 9:23 p.m., I know the exact time because I've checked my Apple Watch approximately 200 times since then. I was walking past my late father's study to grab more ice from the garage freezer. The door was open, maybe 3 inches. Just enough. I heard 2 voices inside. One was my wife, Amanda. The other was my older brother, Rick. And what they were saying made every molecule of oxygen evacuate my lungs. Amanda's voice came first, breathy and urgent. She told him we couldn't keep doing this here. Someone was going to walk in. Rick laughed. That confident, dismissive laugh I'd heard my entire life. He told her to relax. He said I was probably still in the kitchen reorganizing Mom's recycling or whatever the hell I do. They both laughed at that. Then Amanda asked him something that made my stomach drop through the floor. She asked when we were making it official. She said my mother had asked her again today. Rick's response was calm, measured, like he was discussing a business transaction. He said after the divorce. His lawyer said we just needed to be patient. And then he added something I'll never forget. He said honestly, I wasn't going to fight. I never fight. I just take it. More laughter. Intimate. Familiar. The kind of laughter that only comes from people who've shared a bed. Amanda said something next that felt like a knife between my ribs. She said, God. She couldn't wait to not have to pretend anymore. She asked if he knew how exhausting it was. Smiling at my stupid tech jokes, pretending she cared about my day. Rick told her she deserved better. She always had. I should have knocked, should have announced myself, should have done literally anything except stand there frozen like a coward in my own humiliation. But I didn't move, because that's what I did, what I'd always done. I stood there, silent, invisible, useful, the IT guy who fixed everyone's problems and never asked for anything in return. But here's what they didn't know, what none of them knew. I'd been recording everything for the past 6 months. Every text message, every phone call, every hotel reservation, every lie. And I wasn't just some tech support drone. I was something much, much worse for them. Before I tell you what happened next, I need you to do something for me. Like this video only if you've ever been the person everyone underestimated, the one they thought would just take it, the one they assumed would never fight back. And leave a comment telling me, when did you realize your family wasn't really on your side? What was the moment that opened your eyes? Because I want you to know you're not alone. Now let me take you back to where this really started. Before I tell you what happened that night, you need to understand who I was, or more accurately, who everyone thought I was. Amanda and I met 11 years ago at a tech networking event in Soho. She was in pharmaceutical sales for Merck, working the room in a black cocktail dress and heels that probably cost more than my entire outfit. I was wearing khakis and a button-down shirt I'd bought at Target. We got married 4 years later. Small ceremony at City Hall. Her parents wanted something bigger, something worthy of Instagram. But I convinced her we should save the money for a down payment on a house. We never bought that house. Instead, we lived in a 2-bedroom apartment in Astoria, Queens. 950 square feet, no doorman, no elevator, street parking only, which meant circling the block for 20 minutes every night looking for a spot. The couple in the apartment below us screamed at each other every Thursday night with such punctuality you could set your watch by it. But the rent was affordable, $2,200 a month, and I told myself that's what mattered, being responsible, being smart with money. My brother Rick is everything I'm not. He's a managing partner at Whitmore Pierce, one of the top 3 law firms in Manhattan. Mergers and acquisitions. The kind of lawyer who bills $800 an hour and considers it a discount. His office sits on the 52nd floor of a building that cost $4.2 billion to construct. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Central Park. He drives a Mercedes S-Class, obsidian black. He wears a Patek Philippe watch that costs more than most people earn in a year. He owns a 2-bedroom loft in Tribeca that he bought for $2.1 million. Cash, no mortgage. I drive a 2015 Honda Civic with 156,000 miles on it. The check engine light has been on for 8 months. I keep meaning to get it looked at. I wear a navy blue polo shirt with the CyberShield Systems logo embroidered on the chest. Company issued. I got 5 of them when I started. I rotate them throughout the week. I carry my lunch to work in an insulated lunch bag because the office cafeteria charges $14 for a sandwich. At family gatherings, my mother introduces us with a very specific cadence that I've heard so many times I can recite it from memory. She says, "This is Rick, my attorney's son. He just closed a major deal with Goldman Sachs." The details are confidential, of course, but it's very impressive. Then there's a pause, a microscopic hesitation where her smile tightens just slightly. And this is Robert. He works with computers. That pause, that tiny gap of silence before the word computers. Like she's apologizing for my existence. Like she's asking the listener to forgive her for producing such an unremarkable second son. Amanda never corrected her. Not once in 11 years. For 11 years, I've been the family IT department. Free technical support. Available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. On demand. My mother called me at 2 in the morning once because her iPad wasn't connecting to Wi-Fi. The solution was turning it off and back on. She didn't apologize for waking me up. Rick once had me drive to his office in Manhattan during a workday to fix his assistant's printer. It was out of paper. He didn't offer to pay for my time or my gas. My Aunt Linda had me spend 4 hours recovering photos from her old laptop. Photos she'd already backed up to iCloud. She gave me a plate of cookies as payment. I've fixed my mother's computer 17 times. Rick's laptop 9 times. Amanda's phone more times than I can count. Various cousins, aunts, uncles, family friends. Hundreds of hours. Thousands of problems. Problems that could have been solved with a simple Google search. No one ever offered to pay me. No one ever asked if I had time. No one ever even said thank you. They just expected it. Because that's what I was for. That's what I'd always been for. The useful one. The convenient one. The one who fixes things and never complains. Amanda started pulling away about 3 years ago. Slowly at first. Then all at once. More client dinners that ran late. More weekend conferences in cities I'd never heard pharmaceutical companies operate in. More early morning sessions at SoulCycle. A sudden interest in Pilates. A new wardrobe that appeared in our closet seemingly overnight. Designer labels, Gucci, Burberry, Theory. Brands we'd never bought before. When I asked about the new Gucci belt, she told me she got it on sale. When I mentioned the Burberry scarf, she said her bonus was bigger than expected. I wanted to believe her. God, I needed to believe her. Because the alternative, that my wife of 7 years had grown to despise me, was too painful to even consider. But the signs were everywhere. Her phone was always face down on the table. Always. She'd angle the screen away from me when typing. She changed her laptop password and wouldn't share it, even when I offered to fix a software issue for her. She said it was work stuff, confidential, HIPAA compliance. And I believed her. Because that's what you do when you trust someone. You ignore the red flags until they're burning down your entire life. 6 months before my mother's party, the universe started sending me messages. Small ones. Easy to dismiss if you're desperate enough to maintain the illusion of a functional marriage. I was desperate enough. Red flag number 1 happened on a Tuesday in March. I'd taken a rare afternoon off. A client deadline had been pushed back and I decided to do something spontaneous for once in my life. I was going to surprise Amanda with lunch at her favorite bistro in Midtown. The place with the $14 salads she always talked about. I walked in at 1:15. The hostess was about to seat me when I saw them. Corner table, Amanda and Rick, leaning close, her hand on his forearm, both of them laughing at something on his phone. I stood there in that doorway for maybe 10 seconds. Long enough for my brain to manufacture a dozen innocent explanations. Sibling lunch. Family planning for Mom's birthday. Completely normal. I left before they saw me. That night when Amanda came home, I asked her casually how her day was. Just making conversation. No suspicion in my voice. She told me it was boring. Back-to-back meetings. She said she barely had time to eat. Grabbed a protein bar at her desk around 3. That was the first time I knew, really knew, my wife was lying to me. Red flag number 2 was the family group chat. We have a WhatsApp group. Harrison Family Updates. Usually it's my mother sharing articles about heart health or my cousin posting photos of her kids. Standard family stuff. But sometime around last Thanksgiving I started noticing gaps. Conversations that seemed to reference things I'd never seen. Inside jokes I wasn't part of. Plans being made that I only heard about after the fact. I'd scroll up through the chat history, and the messages would be there, but they felt incomplete, like I was reading every other page of a book. One time I asked directly, I said, "What are you guys talking about? Am I missing messages?" My mother replied within seconds. She said, "Nothing important, Robert. Just family stuff. Don't worry about it. Family stuff." I was family, wasn't I? Red flag number 3 happened at Thanksgiving. My cousin Sarah's son Kevin was 17, quiet kid, smart, the type who noticed things other people missed. He found me in the kitchen while I was loading the dishwasher. Everyone else was in the living room watching football and arguing about politics. Kevin stood there for a moment, shifting his weight from foot to foot. Then he asked me something that made my hands stop moving. He said, "Uncle Rob, do you ever feel like people treat you different than they treat Uncle Rick?" I laughed it off. Tried to anyway. I told him Rick was the golden child. I'd known that since we were kids. That's just how it is in families. Someone's the star and someone's the support staff. Kevin didn't laugh. He just looked at me with something that felt uncomfortably close to pity. He said, "Yeah, I guess so." Then he walked away. I stood there alone in that kitchen, holding a plate, and felt something cold settle in my chest. Now I know what he was really asking. Now I know he'd already seen them together. And he was trying to warn me. My mother's 70th birthday party was going to be everything she'd ever wanted. The venue was her estate in Greenwich, Connecticut. 6 bedrooms, 3 acres. The house my father bought 30 years ago when he was still alive and building his wealth. Now it was hers, her kingdom, her stage. She'd invited 150 people, old colleagues from my father's business, country club friends, distant relatives who only materialized when there was expensive wine and social capital to be gained. The dress code was cocktail attire. I knew I'd be wearing the same blazer I bought off the rack at Macy's 5 years ago, the navy one with the buttons that were starting to look worn. I spent 2 full days helping prepare. I drove up Thursday morning to help set up the tent in the backyard. White canvas, strung with Edison bulbs that I spent 3 hours hanging and testing. Friday, I was back to arrange tables and chairs, test the sound system, make sure the microphone worked, troubleshoot the Bluetooth speaker that my mother's event coordinator couldn't figure out. My mother walked past me twice. Both times she had the same comment. She said, "Robert, make sure everything works perfectly. I don't want any technical issues embarrassing me in front of my guests. Not thank you. Not I appreciate your help. Just make sure you don't embarrass me." Saturday morning, the day of the party, I packed my car carefully. My blazer on a hanger in the back seat, the bottle of champagne I'd bought for the toast, and in my backpack, hidden in the trunk, something else. My laptop, a portable hard drive, 3 USB drives with backup copies, and a small digital recorder, just in case I needed them. I had a feeling I would. The party started at 6 p.m. By 6:30, I'd already been assigned my role for the evening. My mother found me near the bar. She was wearing a champagne-colored dress that probably cost more than my monthly rent. Her smile was bright and performative, the smile she reserved for when guests were watching. She told me the catering staff was running behind on ice. She needed me to make a run to the store. Just a quick errand. It would only take 20 minutes. I asked if we couldn't just use what we had, ration it out. She looked at me like I'd suggested we serve box wine. She said, "Robert, don't be difficult. Just go." So I went. When I got back, arms full of 20-pound bags of ice, my mother had another task. The microphone was cutting in and out. Could I fix it? I work with technology, don't I? I spent 15 minutes adjusting connections while guests streamed past me. Not one of them made eye contact. At 7:30, dinner was served. I found my place card. Back corner table, tucked behind a structural tent pole that partially blocked the view of the main area. I was seated next to my Aunt Linda's second husband, Gerald, a man I'd spoken to exactly 3 times in my entire life. Amanda was at the head table, right next to Rick. I watched them from my corner, watched her laugh at something he said, watched him lean close to whisper in her ear, watched her hand rest on his arm just a moment too long. By 8 p.m., I realized something. No one had saved me a plate of food. The catering staff had served everyone at the main tables, then the secondary tables. Then they'd started clearing dishes. I'd been so busy fixing the sound system, then helping my mother rearrange a flower arrangement, then moving cars in the driveway to make room for late arrivals, that I'd missed dinner entirely. No one noticed. No one cared. At 8:15, Rick stood up with his champagne glass. My mother beamed at him. Amanda's eyes sparkled. And I sat in my corner invisible, watching my wife look at my brother the way she used to look at me. Before I became just another broken appliance she kept around because it was convenient. Visual. Rob standing slowly. Decision forming. Walking toward the house. Purposeful now. That's when I decided to go find more ice. I wasn't actually looking for ice. I walked through the house slowly, past the living room where clusters of guests stood with champagne flutes, discussing vacations in the Amalfi Coast and their children's acceptances to Ivy League schools, past the kitchen where caterers plated desserts with architectural precision. The hallway leading to my father's study was darker, quieter, removed from the party. That's when I heard them. The door was open maybe 3 inches, just enough for their voices to carry into the hallway, just enough for me to hear everything. Amanda spoke first. She said we couldn't keep doing this here. Her voice had that breathy quality I used to think was reserved for me. Intimate, unguarded. She said someone was going to walk in eventually. Rick laughed. That confident, dismissive sound that had defined my entire childhood. He told her to relax. He said I was probably still doing whatever menial task Mom had assigned me. Maybe reorganizing the recycling. Maybe fixing another technical issue. He said I never noticed anything anyway. They both laughed. I stood there in that hallway, my hand gripping the doorframe, trying to remember how to breathe. Amanda asked him about timing. She said my mother had pulled her aside again today, asked when they were going to make it official. She said she was getting tired of the questions, tired of pretending. Rick's response was measured, calm, like he was explaining a legal strategy to a client. He said after the divorce was finalized, his attorney had advised patience. We needed to be strategic about this, make sure all the assets were protected before we made any moves. Then he said something that made my vision blur at the edges. He said honestly, I wasn't going to put up a fight. I never did. I just accepted things, took whatever they gave me, and said thank you. He said it was one of the things that made this whole situation so much easier. Amanda agreed. She said she couldn't wait until she didn't have to pretend anymore. She asked if he had any idea how exhausting it was, smiling at my stupid tech jokes, pretending to care when I talked about my day, acting interested in anything I had to say. She said it was like being married to wallpaper. I was just there, present but completely forgettable. Rick told her she deserved better. She always had. He said she was meant for someone on his level, someone with ambition, someone who actually mattered in the world. That's when I heard movement behind me. I turned my head and saw Kevin standing there, my cousin Sarah's 17-year-old son. He was frozen about 10 feet away, his face pale, his eyes wide with the same horror I felt. Our eyes met, and in that moment I saw something that made everything infinitely worse. Recognition. Not surprise, not shock. Recognition. He already knew. Kevin's mouth opened, then closed. He looked at the study door, then back at me. His expression crumbled into something that looked like guilt and pity mixed together in equal measure. I held up one finger to my lips, a silent plea. Don't say anything. Not yet. He nodded. Barely. From inside the study, I heard Amanda say something about the loft in Tribeca. She asked Rick if he'd heard back from his realtor about the penthouse on Franklin Street, the one with the river views. She said that's where she wanted to live when this was all over. That's the life she'd been dreaming about. Rick told her it was already in motion. He'd put in an offer last week, $3.7 million. He was waiting to hear back. I'd looked at that exact loft 2 years ago, found the listing online and daydreamed about it for weeks. Sent Amanda the link and said maybe someday. She told me it was unrealistic, a waste of time to even fantasize about. She said we needed to be practical, live within our means. Now she was planning to live there with my brother. Kevin took a step toward me. His hand reached out like he wanted to comfort me somehow, like he could fix this with a gesture. I shook my head, stepped back. Then I did what I do best. I turned around and walked away. Silent, invisible, useful. But this time, I had a plan. I walked back through that hallway, past those guests with their champagne and their small talk, past the catering staff and the string quartet, and the Edison lights I'd hung with my own hands. I walked straight to my car. I opened the trunk, and I pulled out my backpack. The laptop, the hard drive, the USB drives. 6 months of evidence. 6 months of surveillance. 6 months of documentation that they had no idea existed. I'd spent my entire life being underestimated. Tonight, that was going to change. I walked back toward the party with my backpack slung over one shoulder. Kevin was still standing in that hallway, watching me, waiting. I stopped next to him. I asked him how long he'd known. His voice cracked when he answered. He said since last summer, almost a year. He'd seen them together at a restaurant in Manhattan when he was there with friends. They didn't see him, but he saw them, holding hands, kissing. I asked him why he didn't tell me. Tears were forming in his eyes now. He said his mom made him promise not to. Said the family had decided it was better if I didn't know. Said I couldn't handle it, that I'd make everything messy and difficult. The family had decided, all of them, together, without me. I put my hand on Kevin's shoulder, squeezed once. I told him it wasn't his fault. He was just a kid. They put him in an impossible position. Then I told him to go back to the party. I told him he was about to see something he'd never forget. I stood outside that study door for exactly 15 seconds. 15 seconds to make a decision that would detonate my entire life. I could walk away, pretend I never heard anything, go back to the party and smile and fix whatever broke next and be the convenient, invisible Rob they all expected. Or I could open that door. I opened the door. They were on the leather couch. Not touching, but close. Too close. Amanda's shoes were off. Rick's tie was loosened. 2 champagne glasses on the coffee table that my father used to rest his feet on while reading the newspaper. They looked up at me with identical expressions. First confusion, then recognition, then something that looked almost like annoyance. Like I'd interrupted something important. Amanda stood up first. Her hand went to her hair, smoothing it down in a gesture I'd seen 1,000 times. The gesture she made when she was about to lie to me. She said my name. Just my name. Robert. Like a question. I didn't respond. Couldn't. My throat had closed up completely. Rick cleared his throat. He stood up too, buttoning his suit jacket with practiced ease. He told me we should talk about this privately. Somewhere else. Not here. Not now. I found my voice. It didn't sound like mine. I asked how long. They exchanged a glance. Some kind of silent communication that married people develop. Except they weren't married to each other. Amanda was married to me. I asked again, louder this time. How long? Amanda sighed. Actually sighed, like I was being unreasonable, like I was the one creating a problem. She said it had been 3 years, maybe a little more. She said it just happened. They didn't plan it, but they had a connection, something real, something she'd never felt with me. 3 years. 3 years of good morning kisses that meant nothing. 3 years of I love yous that were just sounds. 3 years of me falling asleep next to someone who was counting the hours until she could be with someone else. I turned to Rick. I asked him if he had anything to say. Anything at all. He looked uncomfortable for the first time. He shifted his weight, adjusted his watch. Then he told me he was sorry. He really was. But I had to understand that these things happen. People grow apart. Feelings change. He said Amanda and I had been having problems for years. We both knew the marriage wasn't working. I told him we weren't having problems until he started fucking my wife. That's when my mother's voice cut through the room like a knife. She said my name sharply. Robert. Language. There were still guests in this house. She was standing in the doorway, still in her champagne dress, still perfectly composed. Her champagne glass gripped in one hand. She didn't look surprised. She didn't look shocked. She didn't look confused about what she'd just walked into. She looked annoyed. I stared at her. My mother, the woman who'd given birth to me, raised me, the woman whose computer I'd fixed 17 times, whose technical problems I'd solved at 2 in the morning. I asked her if she knew. She walked into the room slowly, set her champagne glass down on my father's desk with deliberate care. She told me we needed to discuss this as a family. Later, after the party. Not now. We couldn't make a scene, there were important people here. Not I had no idea. Not, I'm so sorry. Not how could they do this to you. Just later, after the party, I said it again. Did you know? My mother's jaw tightened. That expression she got when I was being difficult, when I wasn't performing my role correctly. She said of course she knew. They'd told her 2 years ago. She'd advised them to be discreet, to wait for the right time, to handle things properly so no one got hurt unnecessarily. No one got hurt unnecessarily. I started laughing, I couldn't help it. The sound came out harsh and broken and completely unhinged. Amanda stepped toward me. She told me I was being dramatic. She said my mother was just trying to protect me. They all were. They thought if I didn't know, everyone could just be happy for a while longer. Everyone except me. That's when I heard movement in the hallway. Footsteps. Voices. The confrontation had gotten loud enough to draw attention. My Aunt Linda appeared first, then my cousin Sarah, then my Uncle Tom. One by one, family members materialized in that doorway and hallway, drawn by the sound of raised voices, drawn by the spectacle. I looked at each face, searching for surprise, searching for someone who looked as blindsided as I felt. I didn't find it. My Aunt Linda looked at the floor. My cousin Sarah bit her lip and wouldn't meet my eyes. Uncle Tom put his hands in his pockets and studied the ceiling. I asked the room a simple question. I asked who else knew. Silence. Then my cousin Sarah raised her hand slightly, like she was in school. Her voice was small when she said she'd known for about 18 months. She said she was sorry. She didn't know what to do. My Aunt Linda admitted she'd known for over a year. She said she'd tried to hint at it once, asked me if everything was okay at home, but I'd said everything was fine, so she dropped it. Uncle Tom said he'd figured it out at last Christmas. He'd seen Amanda and Rick disappear together for 40 minutes. When they came back, Amanda's lipstick was smudged. One by one, they confessed. Timelines ranging from 6 months to 2 years, each one with their own justification, each one with their own excuse for why they'd kept me in the dark. My mother had convinced them all. She'd told them I couldn't handle it, that I'd overreact, that I'd make everything complicated and messy. She said it was better for everyone if I just didn't know. Better for everyone. I stood there in my father's study, surrounded by my family, and realized something that should have been obvious years ago. I wasn't part of this family. I was a service provider, the IT guy they kept on retainer, the one who fixed things and asked for nothing and never made waves. Kevin appeared at the back of the crowd. His face was red, tears streaming down his cheeks. He pushed forward and told them they were all terrible people. He said they'd made him lie for almost a year, made him keep this secret. He said he'd tried to warn me at Thanksgiving, but his mother told him he'd tear the family apart if he said anything. My cousin Sarah tried to defend herself. She told Kevin he didn't understand. It was complicated. Adults have to make difficult choices sometimes. Kevin shouted back that it wasn't complicated. They'd all betrayed me, all of them, and they were still trying to justify it. That's when the other guests started appearing. Friends of my mother, people from her country club, neighbors, business associates. The confrontation had officially become public. I looked at Amanda, then at Rick, then at my mother, and I realized I was done. Done being quiet, done being convenient, done being invisible. I told them all I'd be back in 5 minutes. I told them not to go anywhere. I walked back into the party with my backpack over my shoulder. The tent was still full. The string quartet was playing something light and elegant. Guests were laughing, drinking, having the kind of superficial conversations that filled parties like this. But now I saw it differently. Now I saw the glances, the quick looks that darted away when I made eye contact, the whispered conversations that stopped abruptly when I walked past. They knew, not all of them, but enough of them. I replayed the evening in my head. Moments that had seemed innocuous 3 hours ago now took on completely different meanings. When I'd served champagne to Rick and Amanda earlier, carrying a tray because the catering staff was overwhelmed, I'd noticed 2 women at the adjacent table lean toward each other and whisper something. One of them had looked at me with an expression I'd interpreted as sympathy. Maybe she was having a bad day. Maybe she felt sorry for the guy serving drinks at his own mother's party. Now I understood. She was feeling sorry for the guy serving drinks to his wife and her lover. When my mother had made that joke about my job in front of her country club friends, the one about how I work with technology but nothing very exciting, I'd noticed several people exchange looks, small smiles, raised eyebrows. I'd thought they were being polite, agreeing with her assessment that my career was unremarkable. Now I realized they were acknowledging the punchline to a joke I wasn't in on. Poor Rob. Works a boring job. Can't even keep his wife interested. When Amanda had asked me to move my car earlier because Rick needed the spot closer to the house, I'd noticed the valet attendant look at me with something like pity. I'd assumed he felt bad that I was being asked to move while other guests weren't. Now I understood he'd probably parked Rick's car at this house dozens of times before. Probably seen Rick and Amanda arrive together on occasions I knew nothing about. The poor bastard probably knew more about my marriage than I did. I stood near the bar and watched people. Really watched them. An older couple I recognized as my mother's neighbors were talking quietly, stealing glances toward the house, toward the study where my family was still gathered. The woman shook her head sadly. The man patted her hand. They both looked toward me and quickly looked away when they realized I'd noticed. How long had they known? Had they seen Amanda's car parked in the driveway when I wasn't home? Had they seen Rick visiting at strange hours? 3 of Rick's colleagues from his law firm were standing near the tent entrance. Young associates, probably, trying to impress the managing partner by attending his mother's birthday party. One of them said something and the other 2 laughed. Then all 3 glanced in my direction. I wondered what office gossip they'd heard, what whispered conversations in the break room, what jokes made at my expense. The humiliation was expanding exponentially with each passing second. Each realization, each moment of understanding that I'd been performing for an audience who'd known the truth all along. I'd been the entertainment, the comic relief, the oblivious husband in a farce everyone was watching except me. I thought about every family gathering for the past 3 years, every Christmas, every Thanksgiving, every birthday celebration, all those occasions where I'd shown up with a bottle of wine and a smile, completely unaware that I was the main topic of pre-party phone calls and post-party analysis. I thought about Kevin, 17 years old, forced to sit at family dinners knowing his uncle was being betrayed, forced to smile and make small talk while carrying that weight. How many other cousins knew? How many other relatives? My mother had orchestrated this. I saw that now. When Amanda and Rick had disappeared earlier in the evening, right around 8 o'clock, I'd been in the kitchen. My mother had specifically asked me to help arrange dessert platters, a task that took 45 minutes, a task that kept me occupied and out of sight. She'd created a distraction, deliberately, strategically. She'd given them time to be together while I arranged fucking tiramisu on serving plates. My own mother had been running interference for my wife's affair with my brother, and standing here now, watching these guests pretend not to watch me, I realized the cruelest part. The humiliation wasn't private. It wasn't something I could process alone and move past. It was public, witnessed, confirmed by 150 people who would go home tonight and talk about it. Poor Rob Harrison. Everyone knew except him. Can you imagine? His own brother, his own mother helping them hide it. I'd become a cautionary tale, a punchline, a story people would tell at dinner parties for years. That's when I decided something important. If this was going to be public, then so was everything else, all of it. Every detail, every lie, every dollar, every secret. If they wanted to make me a spectacle, I'd give them a show they'd never forget. Before I tell you what I did next, I need to pause for a moment, because I want to know something from you. Have you ever been in a room full of people who all knew a truth about your life that you didn't know? Have you ever realized that everyone around you was in on a secret, and you were the punchline? That moment when you understand you've been performing in a play where everyone else had the script except you? What did you do? Did you walk away quietly? Did you confront them? Did you burn it all down? Leave a comment and tell me your story. Because I know I'm not the only person who's experienced this, and maybe your story will help someone else who's going through it right now. And if you haven't experienced this, but you know someone who has, share this video with them. Let them know they're not alone. Because what I'm about to tell you next changed everything. Not just for me, for all of them. Now let me tell you who I really am. Remember when I told you I work IT support for a company called CyberShield Systems? That's true. What I didn't tell you, what I've never told anyone outside of my professional circle, is what I actually do there. I'm not a support specialist. I'm not the guy who resets passwords and fixes printer jams. I'm a Senior Cybersecurity Engineer specializing in digital forensics and financial fraud detection. CyberShield Systems isn't some mid-tier tech company. We're private contractors for the FBI's Cybercrime Division. We work with major banks, hedge funds, Fortune 500 companies. When someone gets hacked, when there's embezzlement, when there's insider trading, when someone thinks they've hidden their digital footprints well enough that no one will ever find them, they're wrong. Because they call us, they call me. My specialty is finding things people think they've deleted: encrypted messages, hidden transactions, offshore accounts, digital trails that lead to prison sentences. I've helped put 23 people behind bars in the last 8 years. White-collar criminals who thought they were smarter than everyone else, who thought they'd covered their tracks, who thought no one would ever piece together what they'd done. They were wrong. And my salary? It's not $60,000 a year like my family assumes when they make jokes about my boring tech job. My base salary is $320,000. Annual bonuses average another $180,000 depending on case outcomes and client retention. I make $500,000 a year. I've been making that for the past 6 years. You want to know why I hit it? Why I kept driving that Honda Civic with the check engine light on? Why I kept living in that apartment in Queens that Amanda complained about constantly? Because I watched what money did to my family when my father died. He had wealth, real wealth. And I watched my mother, my brother, my aunts and uncles turn into vultures, fighting over the will, arguing about who deserved what, hiring lawyers to contest distributions. It was ugly and vicious, and it taught me something important. Money changes people. It reveals who they really are. So when I got my first major promotion 8 years ago, I made a decision. I would live the same life publicly. Same apartment, same car, same company polo shirts. I'd be the boring, unremarkable Rob everyone expected, and privately I'd build something they couldn't see. I funneled every extra dollar into investments, index funds, real estate, cryptocurrency back in 2013 when Bitcoin was $800 and everyone thought I was insane for putting $20,000 into it. That $20,000 is worth $1.3 million today. I started buying rental properties in Brooklyn 6 years ago. Small multifamily buildings in neighborhoods that were just starting to gentrify. I bought 5 properties over 4 years, paid them off aggressively. Today, those 5 properties generate $22,000 a month in passive rental income. I have $3.4 million in investment accounts, diversified portfolio, managed by a private wealth advisor in Manhattan who Amanda never knew existed. And 2 years ago, I bought something I'd been dreaming about since I first moved to New York. A loft in Tribeca, 2,800 square feet. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Hudson River. The building has a doorman, a gym, a rooftop terrace. It's 4 blocks from Rick's building, same neighborhood, better views. I paid $2.9 million for it. Cash, no mortgage. I bought it through an LLC. Amanda never saw the paperwork, never saw the bank statements, never knew it existed. My total liquid net worth is $6.2 million. The man my family thinks barely makes rent actually has more money than my brother, the hotshot attorney. And Amanda, the woman who complained for 11 years about our modest lifestyle, the woman who said I lacked ambition, who told Rick I was content being ordinary. She was sleeping next to a multimillionaire and didn't even know it. But here's the thing about being a cybersecurity expert who specializes in digital forensics. When I started suspecting something was wrong 6 months ago, I did what I do best. I investigated. I monitored our home network. Legally, it's my network, my router, my equipment, my legal right. I recovered every deleted text message between Amanda and Rick, every email, every photo, every hotel reservation, every Uber ride, every credit card transaction. I have 847 pages of evidence, time-stamped, geotagged, cross-referenced, irrefutable. I have messages where Amanda tells Rick she's counting down the days until she doesn't have to pretend anymore, where she calls me boring and says being married to me is like being married to furniture. I have emails between Rick and his divorce attorney dated 9 months ago, strategy sessions about how to leave his assets protected, how to time everything perfectly. I have bank statements showing Rick spent $67,000 on Amanda over 3 years. Designer clothes, jewelry, weekend trips to the Hamptons when I thought she was at pharmaceutical conferences. All of it charged to credit cards from his law firm, which means he was potentially committing expense fraud, using company money for personal expenditures. I documented every dollar. I have voice memos where my mother coaches Amanda on how to keep me happy and unsuspecting, where she tells Amanda to be patient, that they just need to wait for the right moment to make their move. I have text messages in the family group chat, the ones I was never supposed to see, where they discuss how oblivious I am, how easy it is to manipulate me, how I'll probably just accept whatever they tell me because I always do. I have photographs of them together at restaurants, at hotels, at Rick's loft, taken by the private investigator I hired 4 months ago just to confirm what I'd already found digitally. I have everything, and I've had it for 6 months. You want to know why I didn't confront them sooner? Because I wanted to see how far they'd go. I wanted to document every lie, every betrayal, every moment of cruelty. And I wanted to wait for the perfect moment. My mother's 70th birthday party, with 150 witnesses, that was the perfect moment. I walked back to my car with purpose. The guests who'd witnessed the confrontation in the hallway were still murmuring, passing information back through the crowd like a game of telephone. By now, half the party probably knew something dramatic was happening. They just didn't know what yet. They were about to find out. I opened my trunk and pulled out my backpack, unzipped it carefully. Inside was everything I'd prepared over the past 6 months. My laptop, a MacBook Pro with enough processing power to run the presentation I'd built. A portable projector, small but powerful, the kind used for corporate presentations. HDMI cables, adapters, a wireless presenter remote, and 3 USB drives, each one containing complete backup copies of every piece of evidence I'd collected. Every message, every photo, every receipt, every document. I'd learned a long time ago that you never rely on a single copy of critical data. Redundancy is everything. I'd spent 2 days setting up the sound system for this party. I knew exactly how it worked. I knew which connections went where. I knew the password to the control tablet because I'd set it up myself. My mother had wanted everything to be perfect for her big night. She was about to get exactly that. I walked back toward the tent carrying my equipment. Several guests stopped their conversations to watch me. A few looked confused. One older man I recognized as my mother's financial advisor actually smiled at me sympathetically, like he knew what was coming and approved. Maybe he'd known about the affair too. Maybe he'd been at dinners where Rick and Amanda arrived together. Maybe he'd heard the whispers at the country club. It didn't matter anymore. They were all about to get the same information at the same time. I walked past the string quartet. They were packing up their instruments. Their set was finished. Perfect timing. I went straight to the audio-visual setup at the front of the tent. The screen we'd used earlier for a slideshow of my mother's life. Photos from childhood, her wedding, her children growing up, all set to sentimental music. That screen was about to display something very different. I connected my laptop to the projector, connected the audio output to the main sound system, tested the wireless remote. Everything worked flawlessly. Of course it did. I'd installed all of it. My mother appeared at my side. Her face was flushed, angry. She asked me what I thought I was doing. She told me to stop. She said I was embarrassing her, embarrassing the whole family. I looked at her calmly. I told her she hadn't seen embarrassing yet. I told her to get Rick and Amanda, tell them to come to the tent. Tell everyone to come to the tent. I told her I was about to give a toast. A proper one. One that would help everyone understand exactly who the Harrison family really was. She started to protest, started to reach for my laptop. I pulled it away and told her very clearly that if she touched my equipment, I'd call the police and have her charged with destruction of evidence. Her face went pale. She asked me what evidence. I smiled. I told her she was about to find out, along with everyone else. It took about 10 minutes for everyone to gather. My mother moved through the party with forced composure, telling guests there was going to be a special toast, a surprise presentation, something her son Robert had prepared. She was selling it well. Her voice stayed steady. Her smile remained in place, but I could see the panic in her eyes every time she glanced back at me. Rick and Amanda came in together. They'd obviously been coordinating their story, probably planning how to do damage control, how to spin this whole situation into something manageable. They had no idea what was coming. Kevin found a spot near the back. He was watching me with wide eyes, waiting. The tent filled up, 150 people, my mother's country club friends, Rick's law firm colleagues, distant relatives, neighbors. Everyone who'd come to celebrate Catherine Harrison's 70th birthday. Everyone who'd known or suspected or heard rumors about what was happening in my marriage. While I smiled and served champagne and fixed technical problems, I stood at the front with the microphone in my hand. The projector was ready, my laptop open, the presentation queued up. Just one click away, I began speaking. I thanked everyone for coming tonight. I said my mother had spent months planning this party, and it meant so much to her to have everyone here to celebrate this milestone. I talked about how important family was to Catherine Harrison, how she'd always prioritized keeping the family together, making sure everyone stayed close, making sure we all supported each other through good times and bad. My mother was starting to relax slightly. This sounded normal, safe. Maybe I was going to keep quiet after all. Maybe I was going to be the good son who didn't make waves. I looked directly at her. I said that tonight I wanted to honor her commitment to family honesty and transparency. I said I had something important to share with everyone, something that would help us all understand what family really means. Then I clicked the remote. The screen behind me lit up. The first image that appeared on the screen was a text message conversation, large enough for everyone in the tent to read clearly. Time-stamped, contact names visible at the top. Amanda to Rick, dated 14 months ago. The message read, "I can't do this anymore. Pretending to be interested when Rob talks about his day is killing me. He spent 20 minutes tonight explaining some software update. I wanted to scream." Rick's response, "Just a little longer, babe. Once the divorce is finalized, you'll never have to pretend again." The tent went completely silent. I didn't say anything. I just let them read. I clicked to the next slide. Another text exchange. This one from 10 months ago. "Amanda, your mom asked me again today when we're making it official. I'm running out of excuses. Rick, tell her we're waiting until after I handle the Tribeca situation. She'll understand. Mom's been great about giving us cover." I heard my mother make a small sound. Something between a gasp and a denial. Next slide. A photo. Rick and Amanda at a restaurant in Manhattan, the Breslin. I recognized it because I'd suggested we go there for our anniversary 2 years ago, and Amanda had said it was too expensive. They were holding hands across the table. Amanda was wearing a necklace I'd never seen before. Later, I'd found the receipt. Rick had paid $4,000 for it at Tiffany. Next slide. A credit card statement. Rick's American Express. Highlighted charges. The Mark Hotel, $1,500. Date, March 14th. The day Amanda told me she was at a pharmaceutical conference in Boston. Bergdorf Goodman, $3,200. Date, May 3rd. The day after Amanda said her bonus came through. The Carlisle, $1,800. Date, July 22nd. Our anniversary. The night Amanda said she had to work late. I finally spoke. I told everyone that my brother had spent $67,000 on my wife over the past 3 years. Hotels, restaurants, jewelry, clothes, weekend trips. I said it was all documented. Every dollar, every transaction. Next slide. An email. From my mother to Amanda. Dated 8 months ago. The subject line read, "Keeping Robert in the dark." I read it aloud. My mother had written, "I think it's best if we continue as we have been. Robert doesn't handle change well. If he found out now, he'd make everything complicated. Let's wait until Rick's situation is resolved and you two can be together properly. In the meantime, just keep him occupied. Ask him to fix things, give him projects. He's happiest when he feels useful." My voice didn't shake. I read every word with perfect clarity. Someone in the crowd said, "Oh my God," quietly. Next slide. The family group chat. The WhatsApp conversation I'd recovered from backups. Messages I'd never seen on my phone because they'd been deleted before they reached me. My Aunt Linda. "Should we tell Rob?" My mother. "Absolutely not. He'll overreact. You know how he is." Rick. "Agreed. Better if he just doesn't know. Makes everything easier for everyone." My cousin Sarah. "This feels wrong." My mother. "Sarah, we're protecting him. Sometimes that means making difficult choices." I let that sit for a moment. Then I asked the tent a simple question. I asked how many people in this room knew my wife was having an affair with my brother. Silence. I told them they didn't need to answer. I already knew. Most of them. I said I'd spent 6 months documenting everything. Every lie. Every betrayal, every moment where my family chose to protect themselves instead of telling me the truth. And now everyone was going to see exactly who they really were. Next slide. This one was a voice memo, audio recording. From 3 months ago, I pressed play. My mother's voice filled the tent through the sound system I'd installed. She was talking to Amanda, coaching her, telling her that I was getting suspicious, telling her to be more careful, to reassure me, to make me feel secure. She said, "Just keep him thinking everything is fine. Rob doesn't pay attention anyway. He's too busy with his little computer job to notice what's happening in his own life." They both laughed on the recording. That laugh echoed through the tent. I looked at my mother. Her face had gone completely white. Amanda was crying now, mascara running down her face, but I wasn't done yet. I told everyone there was one more thing they needed to know. I clicked to the next slide. This one was different. It wasn't a message or a photo or a receipt. It was a financial statement. My financial statement. Net worth summary, account balances, property holdings, investment portfolio. Total, $6.2 million. The tent erupted in confused murmurs. I let them process it for a moment. Let them read the numbers. Let them do the math that didn't make sense with the narrative they'd all believed about me. Then I spoke. I told them I wasn't a simple IT support technician. I was a senior cybersecurity engineer specializing in digital forensics and financial fraud detection. I worked with the FBI, with major banks, with Fortune 500 companies. I told them my annual salary was $500,000. I told them I owned 5 rental properties in Brooklyn that generated $22,000 a month in passive income. I told them I had $3.4 million in investment accounts. And then I told them about the loft, the one in Tribeca, 2,800 square feet, floor-to-ceiling windows, Hudson River views, the one I'd bought 2 years ago for $2.9 million. Cash. Amanda's face went from devastated to confused to horrified in the span of about 5 seconds. I looked directly at her. I told her that loft she'd been dreaming about, the one on Franklin Street with the river views, the one she'd told Rick was where she wanted to live when this was all over. I owned the penthouse in that building, 2 floors above the unit Rick had made an offer on. Better view, bigger space, already mine. Rick's face had gone gray. I told everyone that for 11 years I'd lived modestly, deliberately, because I wanted to see who people really were when they thought I had nothing to offer except my usefulness. And they'd all shown me exactly who they were. That's when I gestured toward the entrance of the tent. A man in a suit walked in, mid-50s, carrying a leather messenger bag. He looked professional, expensive, exactly what he was. I introduced him to everyone. His name was Martin Scheck. He was a senior partner at one of the top divorce litigation firms in New York. He'd been my attorney for the past 4 months. Martin walked to the front and began pulling documents from his bag. He handed the first set to Amanda. Divorce petition, already filed with the court that morning. She was being served publicly at my mother's birthday party. The petition included detailed documentation of her affair, the $67,000 Rick had spent on her, the fraudulent use of our joint credit cards for her personal expenses related to the affair. Martin explained calmly that Amanda would be entitled to exactly nothing. We had a prenuptial agreement she'd signed 11 years ago, and her infidelity, combined with the financial fraud, voided any potential claims she might have had. He handed the second set of documents to Rick. Notice of a formal complaint to the New York State Bar Association. Rick had used his law firm's corporate credit cards for personal expenses, specifically funding an extramarital affair. That was embezzlement, ethics violations, potential disbarment. Martin explained that CyberShield Systems had already been contacted by Whitmore Pierce's managing partners. They wanted our forensic team to conduct a full audit of Rick's expenses. Every charge, every receipt, every dollar. That investigation would start Monday morning. Rick tried to speak. His voice came out strangled. He said this was insane. I was overreacting. We could talk about this privately. I told him we were way past private conversations. Martin handed the third set of documents to my mother. She took them with shaking hands. I told her those were eviction papers. The estate she was standing on, the house in Greenwich, it wasn't hers. It never had been. 6 months have passed since that night. I'm sitting in my loft in Tribeca right now, the one with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Hudson. The one Amanda dreamed about living in with Rick. I'm not alone. Her name is Sarah Chen, corporate attorney. We met 4 months ago at a cybersecurity conference. She makes $300,000 a year, has her own apartment, her own life. When I told her my net worth, she shrugged and asked if I had a good financial advisor. She doesn't need me to be anything except honest. It's the first relationship that feels like an actual partnership. The divorce finalized 3 weeks ago. Amanda got nothing. The prenup held perfectly. Rick is under Bar Association investigation. $123,000 in fraudulent expenses discovered. His managing partnership terminated. 3 major clients gone. He's facing potential disbarment and criminal charges. And my mother? Those eviction papers Martin handed her. My father had placed everything in a trust with me as trustee. He'd known exactly what she was. She only had the right to live in the house, never own it. I activated the trust's misconduct clause. She was evicted 4 months ago. Tried moving in with Rick. He refused. Said his 1-bedroom in Murray Hill didn't have space. Too much stress. She should figure something out. My mother now lives in a 1-bedroom apartment in Fort Lee, New Jersey. She called twice. I didn't answer. Sent emails. I blocked her. Showed up at my building once. The doorman stopped her. But here's the final twist. Amanda is pregnant. She assumed it was Rick's baby. 3 years together, it made sense, she told him, probably expecting happiness. Rick demanded a paternity test. Not his. Turns out she'd been cheating on both of us. A third man, Marcus Webb, sales director at her office. Married with 3 kids. Rick cut all contact immediately. Blocked her. Told everyone he wanted nothing to do with her. Amanda is 7 months pregnant now. Single. Unemployed. Lost her job when the affair went public. Living with her parents in Westchester. 3 days ago she messaged me. Long. Desperate. Apologizing. Said she was scared. Alone. Didn't know what to do. Asked if I could help her financially, just until she got back on her feet. I read it. All of it. Then I marked it as read. And deleted the conversation without responding. People ask me if I regret what I did that night. If I regret exposing them in front of 150 people. If I should have handled it privately, quietly, like an adult. My answer is always the same. No. Because silence isn't civility. It's permission. They thought I was weak because I was quiet. They thought I was stupid because I was humble. They thought I'd accept anything because I always had. But silence isn't weakness. It's strategy. And humility isn't failure. It's camouflage. I spent 11 years being underestimated. And in that invisibility, I built something they never saw coming. So if you're in a situation where people treat you like you don't matter, where your family takes you for granted, I want you to hear this. You are not weak for being kind. You are not stupid for being patient. Sometimes the best revenge isn't fighting back. It's building a life so good that their betrayal becomes irrelevant. If this story resonated with you, subscribe to this channel. Hit that notification bell. Because I share stories like this every week. Stories about people who were underestimated, betrayed, written off, and who came back stronger than anyone thought possible. Drop a comment telling me, what would you have done differently? I'll see you in the next one.